Welcome to another episode of That Is the Question. I am Ben Muckenthaler, the Educational Chair of the Blank Conversation Theater Company, and to my left or right, I can't tell what it's going to look like, is Josh Baca. Say hi, Josh.
Hi, Josh.
Yeah, there you go. You're the first person to do that. I've kept expecting people to do it, and I wouldn't put it past you. All right.
I'm a smart cookie.
Feel free, anyone who is in the gallery, I don't know what we would call this, the non-video people, feel free to type in the chat if you have any questions for them as we go along, and we will be sure to get to them. So for those who have not read your bio or do not know you, can you please introduce yourself and tell a little bit about what you do and what your career has been so far?
Yeah, sure. Career. Right. So I'm Josh Baca. I'm a recent graduate at Chapman University, and I just got my degree in animation and visual effects. And with that, I sort of have this passion of entering the world of entertainment through the medium of animation, just because I feel like it's a very powerful medium with a lot of creative, with no creative limits, pretty much. And so I just came from an internship and from DreamWorks, and I recently was hired to be there full time, which I'm really excited about. And starting with a big studio right off the bat out of college has definitely been a different experience than I thought, considering we're working from home and we're not actually going into the studio. But yeah, my history and like my resume, so to speak, sort of has always been around entertainment, whether it was from high school, working at local dinner theaters, working at Disneyland in entertainment, going to Cartoon Network for a little bit to intern. I've always set my path and my goal of eventually being someone who can make a positive difference in the creative arts through my leadership and my creativity. So super excited to be here. And let's just see where this career goes. I'm really glad to be able to talk about what I do know about animation in the industry. So
yeah. That's why I did think it was funny when you sent me the headshot to use. I was like, oh yeah, he's the first person that's not gonna need headshots really ready to go. Like, yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah, if you're not like acting in person, then you don't really need those. Like, yeah.
Right, but the way I see it is that animators, people in the animation industry, they're acting with the pencil. They're behind. Yeah. This is doing all the acting for them. Yeah. So, but you're right. It definitely didn't have like a professional theater headshot ready to go.
It was still a nice picture. Like, yeah, it was good. So to start off, what would you consider your first like artistic exposure, really?
Well, I guess for me, a strength that I feel like I have going into the animation industry has a lot to do with my background in theater. And that background came from playing Aladdin going into my freshman year. And it was my first time ever doing anything remotely related to theater. I actually had no interest in it, but my friend Danae, Danae Dorme, her and her mother, they sort of coerced me into it. They're like, oh, you look like Aladdin, you can play the part perfectly.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't want to dance and sing. But then I really fell in love with theater, and that sort of like led me on this path to kind of pursue theater all throughout high school. That was sort of like, that was the first instance of that.
Well, then you played Jafar in the senior show, right?
Yeah, it was kind of a nice cycle. I started my high school experience playing Aladdin in Aladdin, and I ended playing Jafar in Twisted, which is, for anyone who doesn't know, the story of Aladdin, but through the lens of Jafar's eyes, where he's actually the good guy.
Yeah. All right, yeah. Do you think that you have benefited more from learning about animation style and technique, or from just straight up storytelling as an animator, as a storyteller?
Yeah, that's a good point. I definitely consider myself a storyteller first. The technique and all the technical skills that go into it are super necessary, and that's something that like I couldn't have learned like without going to school. Like these are things that like I needed to learn how to use 3D animation software to make my senior thesis film that I just produced. So those skills were very necessary, but I feel like they're worthless if you don't have a good story to tell. Like if you don't have, you never use those skills unless you have a worthwhile story. So for me, like I find that being able to tell a good story and being in theater in my past has really like kind of like I've involved myself in that world of storytelling, and it's been like that's the number one tool that I have in my belt ready to go. And like that's something that I feel like is a little bit more important than the actual technical skills. You gotta start from the story first.
Yeah. What softwares do you use most?
We use something called Maya, so that's a 3D animation software. I use After Effects, Photoshop all the time.
Yeah.
Those are like the three main ones that I'm using. If I'm working in traditional or 2D medium, then it's going to be Toon Boom or Storyboard Pro.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, DreamWorks doesn't do a lot of 2D though, so did you do a lot of that in college, I'm guessing?
Yeah, so I did 2D towards the beginning of my experience in college, but in DreamWorks, it is mostly a 3D pipeline. So my knowledge of being able to like having learned that in school is really valuable, but I'm still learning more because DreamWorks has a lot of what they call proprietary software. So they have software that only belongs to them, and so that's another thing to be able to track when I'm going to be working there.
Well, then again, I did see that you do say that you are also a storyboard artist, which is still going to involve the 2D drawings, right?
Exactly.
So it's still a skill to have,
Definitely. They say like, you know, the motto in the animation industry right now is pretty much if you don't know how to draw, you're not even ready for 3D, for CG, because principles of animation, the principles of, you know, storytelling, they all start with a drawing. And if you can't board out or draw what you want to eventually put and produce into a 3D animation, you'll never get there because you need the building blocks, excuse me. And without the guide, like you can only do so much in CG in your own mind because it just doesn't work that way.
Yeah. So while you were in college, or if I don't know if you've done anything like with some other people, have you done any voice work over animation things as well?
Not for animation in particular. That is something that I do want to eventually pursue. You know, the more I kind of go into the industry, I think that's a way for me to be able to use like my theater background, my theater talent. But I did do one voiceover for a insurance company. So a super random thing. That was like my first paid like voiceover role. And it was pretty much just me speaking over a commercial. But that's something on my current like acting resume to kind of put out there.
That's cool. I mean,
Yeah, I would like to continue and find opportunities in voice acting if I had to, especially
what insurance company was it, if we'd recognize the commercial?
Man, what was it called? My friend was interning for them, and that's how I kind of got the gig. I can't remember what they were called. So apparently their ad didn't do anything for me, but I wish I had that on the top of my head. But anyway, I think that that's something where down the line, as I continue to like pursue maybe some voice acting opportunities, then I'll be able to utilize like the skills that I learned back in high school in theater. And I think doing musicals or singing would be a fun opportunity. Definitely. That's one thing that I will say I miss is I've really had to narrow down my interests. And, you know, they say pick one or two things you're good at and go for it if you want to like become a master, if you want to be a professional in it. And unfortunately, that meant that I sort of had to let theater go halfway through college because I started out involved in Chapman's theater life. I got casted in a couple shows my freshman year, did some cabarets, and that was a lot of fun, but it was just kind of detracting. You know, the time I spent doing that is time I get lost doing animation and focusing on those goals.
I think you still could down the line if you had like your own solo like passion project type of thing. You could make a musical, like animated movie.
Yeah, that's something that I kid you not, I was kind of dreaming up today because I've gotten to know one of my coworkers really well at DreamWorks, and he's always he also has an interest. He never did it, but he has an interest in musicals, and he wants to be an animation producer, a line producer. Whereas I want to be like a showrunner and someone in charge of story. And so we were just spitballing ideas today, and then we had both mentioned previous musical projects that we've been on, and it kind of got me thinking like, hey, I could totally kind of write my own animated musical for fun right now and like do a little passion project. And I think that's something that I want to do, especially now that I'm out of college and I have time. Well, not time, but I have like weekends to like kind of work on my passions. That's something that I definitely think I'm going to do.
Because you could always give yourself a little singing line in there.
Yeah, exactly. I'd love to. I'd love
anyone else. Hey, I'm available.
Okay, Ben.
Hi, welcome to my ad. You've actually been in another advertisement this entire time.
Yes.
So you mentioned Disneyland a little while back. What exactly did you do at Disneyland, and do you think that like helped you like as an animator?
I think so, actually. I was an entertainment host at Disneyland, and for anyone who doesn't know what that role entails, it's basically someone who accompanies the characters for their meet and greets, and I would be the one in charge of making sure they get to their location on time and leave on time, interacting with guests and keeping them updated on like, oh, Mickey Mouse is going to be right back. He's just got to go make sure Pluto has a fresh new bowl of dog food, but he'll be back very short, all cheery and happy.
He was like, going to the bathroom.
Yeah. But it was also a really nice time management and like, managerial lesson in terms of working with other people, because not only am I sort of not supervising the performers, but I'm making sure that they're adhering to a very strict schedule. And that's something that in animation production is so important. I learned that in my thesis. I'm learning that now working on a production team at DreamWorks. Like if deadlines and times aren't hit, then like the whole operation crumbles. And that's sort of how Disneyland is. Like it's a giant operation and entertainment is just one section of it, but making sure that the characters get to where they need to be within like 5 minutes is so crucial to how the rest of the day is going to unfold for the operation.
Yeah. Well, and also the character's performance is such like an integral part to the experience of being at Disneyland. So if they don't have to worry about, their own time management, if they have somebody else who's like making sure that it happens. Yeah.
Yeah. Mickey Mouse is out there to have a good time. I just got to tell the boss when to go in. But another thing there that sort of translates into just real world application was like the people. It made me a better people person, I think, because I was meeting guests from all over the world every day. And for one thing, you sort of get regular guests that come in all the time that sort of really become a family. And I was really appreciative of that because, after working there for like a year and a half, there was a handful of regular guests who I would just look forward to seeing, and they would friend me on Facebook. It became like a real family thing. Yeah. But like I was saying, there's also guests from like Japan was a big visitor. Canada came a lot. Lots of Spanish-speaking guests, and so I had to be able to communicate effectively with people from all kinds of different, religious, racial, cultural, like, all the different backgrounds, and being able to meet over like 100 people every day kind of is something that I think it's a very growing thing professionally to go through.
Yeah.
Just being able to interact with that. And, it's helpful because now at DreamWorks, I'm working in their television department. They make content for Netflix, and I'm emailing clients and overseas studios from like India or from China, and keeping up that cross-cultural intersection of being able to effectively communicate with people, even when there's a language barrier or even when there's like cultural barriers or things that aren't consistent for mine. Those are skills that help me now, and those are things I learned from working at Disney.
Yeah.
I'll say one more thing about that is just a lot of my job also was reading the characters' interactions and their animations, as we called it. And being able to translate to a guest who maybe was confused about what Mickey Mouse wanted. If Mickey Mouse was like, doing something, like they don't. Sometimes they get starstruck and the guests don't know what Mickey.
Yeah.
But like part of my job was also to translate that for the guests. Like, hey guys, Mickey Mouse says like he really likes your shirt. Why don't you go get a picture with him?
Yeah.
And being able to read the character's animation, I think was good training on my part to be able to eventually animate, and enter the world and be able to have a taste for what makes a good animation and what makes a bad animation. And it's all about clarity. And so that's something that I picked up working at Disneyland.
Yeah. So then also you have mentioned DreamWorks a few times, more than a few, but it's your job right now. That's awesome. Just kind of casual.
Right.
So when did you get that internship, and what was like that process like of turning the internship and then to like an actual job as well?
Yeah. So I got the DreamWorks internship this spring semester.
Okay.
And I was, so I just left an internship with Cartoon Network, and I was debating whether or not I thought it was worth doing an internship in the spring, because part of me felt like it would have been very difficult to balance on top of creating my animated thesis film and kind of finishing off my senior year.
Yeah.
But, I decided I'd go for it. I thought it would lead to good options after college, and I was right. But a lot of the animation internships, the way you go about getting it, it's all just luck, pretty much. It's you just submit your application online. You don't really know anyone there. That's how I got it at Cartoon Network. I just went for it, and I think what obviously helped me with DreamWorks was having the previous internship experience. And just being able to interview. So once I got in, I just worked hard. Obviously that's so that's such an easy thing to say, right? But for real, like I treated my internship like it was a job, and I think that's the way to do it. Like I went in, I always checked in with my supervisors first thing in the morning. I went above and beyond, and I tried to learn everything. And I'm the type of person who, when I'm being taught, I don't just want to be taught how to do something. I need to be told why we're doing something.
Yeah.
And I think for me, that really helped me understand the animation pipeline a lot better. And I think it showed my supervisors that I was really committed and interested in all aspects of the show's production, and being able to get into that and know the reasons behind why we do certain things, I think made me just a better intern. And so, the coronavirus situation happened, and the internship was sort of cut short. I tried to finish it up online from home. I was able to do that like a little bit, but wasn't a consistent thing just because it's difficult. But I got a nice send off online, and that was it. Like no one was hiring. I had previously interviewed during the internship for an open position, but I never heard back.
Yeah.
But then, come, maybe about a month ago now, out of the blue, DreamWorks just messaged me, and they're like, one of the recruiters asked me if I'd be interested in interviewing for another position. And I was like, yeah, great. And I hadn't even applied for that position, but they were like, hey, we want you to come in.
What is your actual title with it right now?
I'm working on so I'm a production assistant on the Fast and Furious animated TV show. So in case you didn't know, there's a Fast and Furious animated TV show now.
All right.
Season 1 is out on Netflix. It actually gets really good. And we're working on.
Do I need to watch all the movies before?
I've never. See, that's the thing. I hadn't seen the live action movies now, but now I'm curious.
You still haven't seen any of them?
No, but it's not like a required thing if you want to.
Well, I mean.
But I want to see them now. I probably should.
Yeah.
Yeah. So don't tell my boss.
Just like asks a question and you're like, fast.
Furious.
Oh, also furious.
Yes. So yeah, I'll get on that. I'll definitely watch the movies at some point. But you don't have to watch the movies to understand
Yeah.
the TV show.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, and I interviewed and they liked me and they brought me onto the team, and it's just been a blast. This was my first official week working full time with the team on DreamWorks and the show, and I'm still learning. That's something I appreciate about animation is that whether it's artistic roles or production roles, like I'm always going to be learning something new pretty much every day. Not only because it's a new job, but because the technology and the pipeline, like it's always changing. There's always new things or new gadgets coming out to make things easier, streamlined. So it's been an experience that I'm really appreciative of to be able to learn after college because I've always sort of I haven't necessarily liked like math and science, but I've always loved the pursuit of knowledge and history and literature and art. And so this kind of falls into that category. So I'm excited to keep learning more.
Yeah. All right. So then one more big thing before some final finishing up questions. Star Skipper, your senior thesis film, correct?
Correct. Correct.
That is not available to watch anywhere. Is it going to be somewhere that like we can pay to watch it?
So we're figuring out how we want to distribute my film right now, and so basically what the reason why it's not released yet is just because we're kind of trying to navigate film festivals, and sometimes they have rules about having the content already like posted somewhere.
Yeah.
So for that sake, we don't have it anywhere. I eventually do want to release it on YouTube, whether that's through my own channel or through like an animation channel that I can partner with. Still gonna figure that out.
Is it the same channel that you vlogged with the entirety of senior year?
Oh, you mean the Project Life?
Yeah, Project Life. That's what it was.
That channel actually does not exist anymore. So here's the thing. I was like, that's a whole other subject, but the channel exists.
Talk about that if you don't want to.
The channel exists. No, I'll plug myself here. The channel exists, but I'm changing the name and transforming the channel into like a new idea that I'm having. Mm-hmm. So it's not out yet. But the idea is that like I'll already have a bunch of subscribers. So I'm just gonna like delete all my old videos and like change. I don't know if that's crummy or not.
Just like slowly delete like 5 at a time. Like yeah.
I've already been deleting them, and I'm only keeping my musical content on there because I've made a couple musicals and like covers over the past couple of years, and that are also on that channel.
Okay.
Yeah, but I have to rebrand it. I'm gonna come up with a new channel name, but I'm just gonna reuse this channel.
So then do you want to talk about what Star Skipper is and like what the plot line is, and then show your clip if you got one ready?
I'm going to show a little clip. Give me 1 second. I have 2 monitors up right now.
Gus, can you make sure he has the ability to screen share?
Okay.
I don't even know how to do that.
Let me pull up my other screen here. Please excuse, as they would say at Disneyland, pardon my pixie dust. I know, is that lame?
That's so whack. Also, I tried to get an answer out of somebody one time at the one that's Crush.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Are you able to tell me how that works?
Nah, dude, that's like totally Crush up there. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, goodness. That's like the one time after literally everyone had left the room, I went up to the guy and I was like, so is there somebody like live doing the voice? And he was like, yeah, it's Crush. I was like, okay. It's like, all right, never mind, I get it.
Okay, I have a clip. So I'll start off just by showing a clip.
Yeah. Are you able to, do you know how to do it?
Yes, I'm just logging into it.
Oh, it's right there I'm dumb.
I see.
The green button.
Share screen. Oh, I'm not enabled to share my screen right now.
I think now he can access it for you. Once you hit that, yeah.
Okay. Oh, still not able to share. Sorry about this.
No, you're good. It's on ours.
Yeah. Not able to share the screen right now.
All right. Well, while we're waiting on that for a second, um, so my final question before a lightning round of thing, just for something for you to think about. If somebody made your life into a movie, who would play you?
Okay, I have like two answers for this.
All right.
Um, my sort of cop out answer is Tom Cruise because A, who wouldn't want Tom Cruise to play them? But B, I've been told that I look like Tom Cruise if I wear sunglasses. And there are some
I
pictures.
see. I see it. Yeah.
Yeah, so that would be sort of like my like obvious answer, but less obvious. Do you know the guy who this just popped into my head now, but I feel like it'd be a decent fit. Do you know the guy who I think it's like Joey? He's on Broadway. He was in he sings the song Michael in the bathroom, Michael in the bathroom.
Wasn't that
Salazar.
yeah, George Salazar. Cassidy got it. There you go. Yeah.
No, it's Salazar, Cassidy. Yeah, I think it's George Salazar.
I saw George and immediately read it as George Salazar, not Sanchez. Yeah, so I didn't even notice that.
But
I
anyway,
believe that you can share your screen now if you want to.
think so.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm just gonna share a little snippet. You guys get a little preview. Can you guys see it?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so what I'm gonna show you right now, I'm just gonna, I'm not gonna be able to show you guys the whole film, but I'm gonna scroll through a couple different shots to give you an idea of what my senior year consisted of.
How long is the whole thing?
This film is around 7 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. And so here's the intro. But let me just start off by saying that Star Skipper, it's a father-daughter story. It's a story about a little girl. And since you're not going to be able to watch it here, I'll just tell you a bit. It's a little girl and her father who they go to the beach every day. And the father shares with the little girl how to turn these rocks into stars. And much like you and I would go and skip a rock across the water, they skip stars across the water. And basically, the little girl grows up and she eventually returns to that same beach as a young adult, this time without her father. And she no longer has that ability that she once had to skip these stars. And it's kind of a story about her calling upon her past and her childhood to reclaim that youth and wonder that we all once had when we were kids.
All right. Awesome.
I don't know if there's audio playing or not.
I can't hear audio.
Yeah, I don't know why that's happening. One second. There, we should probably get some.
That would work.
Okay, so that's sort of the intro of it, and I'll show you guys just one more part that I really enjoy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's just a couple clips to show you guys from the film that I made for my senior thesis. Let me turn off my screen share.
That's cool. I personally, the thing that I loved was the title. When the title came up, of just like,
Thanks.
I love the non-static titles when they do that.
Yeah, thanks.
It just creates like a kind of specific thing for it. Yeah,
Mhm.
kind of tone. Yeah.
Thank you.
So then now on to the ending portion of this. We got some production value here. If you give me a second.
Oh.
Boom. I sink down. Lightning round. Here we go.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to put 20 seconds on the clock. Not minutes. All right. On your mark. Get set. Dog or cat?
Dog.
Favorite board game?
Oh man. I like Egyptian Rat Slap. It's a card game. Does that count?
I know. Are you in Alphaba or Galinda?
The green one.
What superpower would you want?
Ice or electricity.
Favorite holiday?
Christmas.
Name one of the 7 dwarfs.
Dopey.
All right.
Ooh.
That's 20 seconds.
Nice.
Do you not know which one is the green one?
So you won't believe this, but my girlfriend actually showed me, what's it called? Wicked for the first time on a road trip this year. Also,
how did you go through a high school theater program for 4 years and not know about Wicked at all?
I knew about it. I just hadn't listened to it.
Interesting. All
Yeah,
right. Wow.
So
that's nuts.
That's my bad.
The green one is Alphaba for your future reference.
Okay.
It's okay. We'll give you a pass.
Yeah, sorry, guys.
All right. Oh, and then I had one more on here that I wanted to get to, but it was at the bottom. Favorite Pixar movie, if you have one.
It's either Coco or Monsters, Inc.
Really? Okay.
Or not Monsters, Inc. Sorry, I like Monsters University.
Monsters University more than Monsters, Inc.
Mm-hmm.
The only part I specifically remember of Monsters University, and I thought was really funny as a kid, and I probably would still think is funny, is when they're breaking in and then they're leaving, and Art, the one thing that's just like, he just goes, "I can't go back to jail."
Yeah.
And that's just so funny to me. I don't know why, but yeah.
I like that.
All right. Well, thank you very much for doing this. It has been a pleasure to talk to you again. Don't be a stranger.
Definitely. Thanks for having me. This is fun.
Yeah. This has been another episode of That Is the Question. Thank you all for coming.